a scion of many worlds. There is a slight cheer as he ducks into the room with the rest of the Titans. Thankfully, many study halls were built with high ceilings and high corridors between them. "Hey, finished your latest round of Clean the Mess?" the Welshman asks, first as Horus throws a salute. "Yes, bought us at least a week with the fierce feather tribes. More than enough time for the fleets to get here," he says, and there's a snort. "Hey, don't go jinxing things now. It's not like we have the ships in communication and reinforcement range." Says the reinforcement off the ship. Jasper snaps back. Point," the Welshman replies. "By the way, it's about a day or two out. Is there a good spot to hang up the armor, or am I sleeping in this mess?" "Oh, yeah, it shouldn't take much to get a private chamber you guys can store your gear. You do have pants on under that, I hope." "Technically." "What technically?" "It's more body stocking." "Really? Well, so much for leaving things to the imagination. You look kind of disturbed at the idea." "I'm covered in floof. I don't know if I got a beer gut or abs under the fuzz," Jasper remarks, and the Welshman snorts. "Hey, what's this I'm hearing about giant butterfly monsters?" Chariot demands as she turns away from her conversation with Horus. "Grand gliders. Not much fun to hunt, smell terrible, and no good meat on them," Magrika supplies. "Although it was fun to clean up after ourselves. My daughter is right here, Magrika. No bringing that up in front of her," Jasper notes, and the Metak openly scoffs. "I am right here, and I don't like being excluded from the conversation." Zavaya remarks somewhat sourly, and Jasper just shrugs. "Sorry, but I chose to bring you into the family, so I'm a bit on the protective side." "I know, and I hate it. 5 years at most, and you'll love it," Jasper promises her, and she just puts her nose into the air. "Skipped all the adorable child stages and went right into rebelling teen. Are you sure adopting her was a smart idea?" Horus asks. "Well, it was either that or political prisoner. I figured this was the more benevolent approach," Jasper remarks. "By the way, if you're looking for a guide on the edibility of plants on this world, you have to remember that humans have much more robust physiologies, and our sense of taste means that certain things will hit you differently. One of my local favorites is considered incredibly bitter by the locals, but is actually a kind of satisfying sour with a tangy aftertaste." "Really? I mean, I know that our digestive tracts let us eat more, but I didn't think it changed our taste that much," Horus asks as he glances at the book he'd been reading that Jasper was apparently familiar with. "Oh, it does. I remember being an unaltered Urthani, and a lot of the things I eat now would have been disgusting if not outright dangerous then. A properly integrated digestive system that allows you to eat a huge amount of things also teaches you to enjoy them," Jasper notes. "So, you've run into problems with this book then?" Horus asks, tapping the tome he has open on the podium. Just holding the book wasn't really an option. Power armor was hard on the surroundings even with buffering fields. So the book had been gently levitated to a podium and was having its pages gently turned with axiom. It was a handwritten parchment tome wrapped in leather. The whole thing was handcrafted with the kind of care that you normally only get out of custom jobs. There was a touch to the tome that you just don't get in mass-produced books. "No, I haven't read it before, but I can tell there are some inaccuracies from my own experiences. It references Urthani in it, but my own experiences differ, so it has to be the digestion. Unless male and female Urthani have varying tastes, but that's more speculation," Jasper replies. "You can read a book on a podium across the room that faces away from you. Good God, man, how much do those feelers pick up?" "I can see the electrical and axiom currents in your armor. I can vaguely make out electrical movement in your face, which I think is neural synapses, and I can very easily read the book from this side of the room. Yeah, getting armor on you is completely overkill. Between the metal fur, metal claws, and super antenna with wings, you're basically already in armor. You just need a power pack and a big gun and you're set," Horace remarks. Well, that might save my fur. I also want to see just how silly I can get with it. How about we see how you stack up, Horace asks, and Jasper grins. I'll get this armor off and we'll go at it fist to claw. You know what? Yes, that sounds amazing, Jasper says, and Horace nods. The back of the power armor unlocks and spreads outward, allowing Horace's massive frame to exit. The sheer black body stocking shimmers in the light as Jasper divests himself of his armor and reveals that he's only got a pair of pants and a vest on underneath. He folds his cape up away, and there are more than a few mocking cheers to the crowd. Your armor really hid just how much hair you grew, Horace. Good God, man, you could easily weave a rope with that. Hey, I look good in dreads and better with a goatee. Now let's do this, Horace says, as he takes a few steps away from the power armor, which then closes back up. All right, this is a Titan sparring match, Chariot announces. We're keeping this nice and friendly in that we're not using weapons or armor beyond basic body stockings and body enhancements. Axiom use is to be kept defensive and non-damaging. A light in the other guy's eyes, a defensive shield, both are fine, and physical enhancement is a given. But a blast of lighting or a lungful of fire and anything like that are not. The less said about disintegration, the better. We go until knockout or surrender. Our participants are a strange pair as they're connected closely. Our big man in black is Horace Blue, the mental blueprint used to get his opponent Jasper Blue running around as a Titan. As far as we care, these two are brothers, so let's show our audience exactly what blue brotherly love looks like. Fighters, are you ready? I am ready, baby, Horace announces as he stomps the ground so hard he craters it and kicks up a small dust cloud. The cloud is then wiped away as Jasper unfurls and unfolds his wings so hard that the sheer wind currents knock it back. Ready! Then fight already, Chariot announces, and there's a blur of movement and an audible smacking sound. The blur resolves into Jasper with his claw out and Horace just to the side with a fist buried in Jasper's side. You stand out like a flare little brudder, Horace taunts before dodging an elbow to the face from the same arm he dodged before, and before he has time to taunt, he catches the back of a claw to the jaw with a cracking, snapping sound. He's not hurt, but the claw itself sounds very different than a fist driving into someone. Cute. Horace's snap kick is caught, and the man weighing more than a ton of raw muscle and reinforced bone is hefted effortlessly into the air with one hand. Jasper then catches the retaliating stomp and slams Horace down to the ground, where everyone feels the earth jump in response. Jasper then skids back a little when Horace tries to force him back and is then pulled aside. He lets go and skids back as Horace rolls upright and lunges right for him. Jasper rolls away and lets his wings out loosely as a cape to batter away Horace before he suddenly snaps them stiff and knocks him back a touch. He withdraws the wings before his brother can grab them and lunges for him. His claws are caught by the wrist and Horace goes for a headbutt before dodging to the side to avoid the proboscis. You're made of blades, brother, Horace calls out as he clenches his neck against Jasper's and then pulls up his legs to hook his feet behind Jasper's knees, and they both tumble down. A quick roll and Horace manages to get on top, but he's not given a chance to start working Jasper over as the Earthani's wings snap out hard and he's thrown off his now rising sibling. Horace lands in an effortless roll and stands up to regard his now airborne brother. Cute, but no cigar. Horace then pumps an absurd amount of axiom into his arms and hands and claps. The shockwave knocks Jasper back, and while he shakes his head to throw off the slight stun, he has just enough time to sense Horace coming straight at him like an artillery shell, but with far more destructive potential. A flap of his wings takes Jasper out of the line of attack, but Horace was ready for that, and there's another shockwave as the man assaults the air itself for a second jump in midair. Jasper can see every angle of the intended attack and shifts. Horus is very much aware of his own vulnerability, though, and catches the monstrous axe kick aimed for the top of his head with his forearms. But his momentum has been reversed, and he slams into the ground hard. "Are rocks weapons?" Horus's voice demands from the dust cloud. "Yes," Chariot declares. "Damn!" "Ha!" Jasper taunts. "Oh, you are asking for it now, fuzzball!" Horus responds, and there's another clap causing Jasper to brace himself against the shockwave. But before the effect is over, there is a slam and the cloud of dust is kicked off again. Horus rockets out of it with no further axiom expenditure and orients himself like a human missile right into Jasper, who was not using axiom to track him, and therefore immune to the clever trick. "How long did it take you to master that stunt?" Jasper asks in honest curiosity. "A full week. Expelling your axiom as you're thrown back by your own hit at just the right time to not shatter your bones is a game of chicken I recommend to no one," Horus remarks as he falls back down to the ground. "Now get down here. Yes, you have the aerial advantage. But this is a test of skill, not a pissing contest on whose heritage gave them the better hand job." "Fine," Jasper remarks, snapping his wings back into their resting position and slamming in the ground. "Ready? Go!" Horus shouts as he charges and is countercharged by Jasper, who football tackles him to the ground. But Horus actually has more skill in fighting someone his own size and quickly turns the slam into a roll and is quickly kicked off before he can start beating on Jasper. "You're taking care not to be caught like that. A good trait to have, but you don't know how to counter it yet." "And how do I counter it?" Jasper asks. "Come on." Horus invites him and Jasper tackles into him, and this time the roll ends up with Jasper on top, and he balls up his claws to hammer into Horus. Horus blocks the first flurry before he kicks up, and his foot snakes around Jasper's neck and pulls him back and holds him still long enough for him to slam into Jasper's stomach and sides a few times. Jasper rolls away and then stomps down at Horus, who rolls away and kips up to then throw a huge telegraphed punch, and Jasper steps out of reach. Then Horus charges instantly and uses the momentum of his turning to turn it into a massive kick enhanced by axiom that, while it's dodged, its weight kicks up a wind. Horus goes into an almost dance-like series of moves as he kicks again and again and again, with Jasper backing up to find the rhythm. Then, after a few rotations of increasingly fast kicks, Jasper slaps the heel of Horus's next turn and throws him off balance. He then drives his folded claw into his brother's face and sends him tumbling. There's an outright detonation of stone and earth when Horus nearly instantly regains his bearings and rockets right at Jasper. Instead of dodging like before, he first moves as if he's going to, then quickly shifts into a solid stance and slams hard into Horus, using the man's own insane momentum to add to the power of the blow. "I'm calling it! This spar is over!" Chariot shouts as Horus rises up with a dislocated jaw. That punch would have left a clear impression in tank armor and only barely inconvenienced the big man. It's clear that both of you are at a level where unacceptable damage to the surrounding area would be needed for either of you to actually win the fight. So congratulations, you're both too tough to actually win the damn fight. "Game called out of environmental concerns is an ending I can agree with," Horus says, after snapping his jaw back into place. He doesn't even flinch. "Fair enough. Good to see you weren't waiting on your ass growing wider on the way over." "Of course not. There's so much to do that being anything less than my best is downright criminal. We have an entire world depending on us. We need to be better than the best," Horus says. "Don't you or anyone else worry. We're in this to win this, and winning this means Lacran becomes a paradise." "Glad to hear it, brother. I'm glad to hear it. Also, thank you for not relying too much on the cutting aspect of things. I don't fancy getting sliced up in a spar. Those first few attempts were just to get your attention and see how well you dodge. I was pretty sure you'd be fine, but I wanted to make sure.